How we doing, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. I am your host, Richie, here with my guy, Mr. Idris Salam, a.k.a. Bosco from the Bronx. How you doing, brother?
Yo, Thursday edition.
Yeah, kind of an improv show. We're very sad today. Tragedy going on in D.C. involving an Army Black Hawk as well as a commercial aircraft from American Airlines. Just really a messy, tragic situation that we want to speak on and hopefully get into the solution about how something this horrendous could be avoided moving forward. On a lighter note, we want to hit on, obviously, Media Week in the NFL and the do's and don'ts for the players and coaches to just kind of stay on their game, because you see it when you have the one seed getting a bye, how it is never easy to stay sharp for a playoff game. And this is the ultimate game. So, we're going to hit on what we feel the Chiefs and Eagles have to do respectively, not to mention, talk a little bit about the game. We have some time to give our predictions. So we're going to gradually nurture that into a big time Super Bowl prediction show. We're going to talk some MLB free agency and the do's and don'ts of the way that certain owners speak about their potential former players. There's a fella in Queens with a bit of an ego that I'm going to hit on. We got the P Diddy Trial, that ever-moving situation. Want to hit on that. Some stuff to watch on TV that's worth it. And honestly, whatever comes to the mind of Idris and I is what we intend on speaking on. But we're going to start it up with something that we hate to talk about, but it's our responsibility to address these kind of things. American Airlines flight 5342 has fatal crash with Army Black Hawk helicopter, as sadly all the passengers were killed. Idris, in your opinion, what does air traffic control have to do to make sure that something like this never happens again? And this, of course, occurred in our nation's capital, where it is probably the busiest part of airspace in our country. What are your thoughts, Idris?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe have more communication with the military. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out, what a Black Hawk being as maneuverable as it is, it's almost like a jet. I'm like,
yes, sir.
I don't know, man. I really don't know. What's up, Daniel Nunez? Thanks for joining in this morning. Because I know it's pretty early for you, bro. But I don't know, man.
Yeah, Nunez coming in from California. Prayers to the families that lost a loved one. Yeah, it's everybody's nightmare, pal. Coming from a police family, I always was concerned about my father's whereabouts. You know what I mean? Being a New Yorker, we experienced 9/11. Some of us who actually saw it live, as opposed to on the tube, it's a trauma. No question. It's just sad, Nunez. So sad. So our prayers go out to the families. Absolutely. Yeah. Nunez hitting us with his prediction. Eagles 31, Chiefs 24. You got to beat the refs too, Nunez. We're going to hit on that as well. I will say this. Your Eagles are loaded, pal. Your Eagles are loaded. Definitely have a chance to win. But, there's going to be a lot of information coming out. Some of it false as well. So it's like, we have to be patient and try to gather what we feel is the truest form of the information from a sensibility level. But, when I consider how many aircrafts are constantly moving, when you consider that there's 4 airports so very close to each other.
Yeah.
I actually think it's kind of miraculous that these things haven't occurred more frequently. To my knowledge, the last time something like this happened was way back in 1982.
Yeah.
With a plane that was, I believe, coming from Florida.
Here it is. It looked like it had the whole USA figure skating team and the Russian figure skating pairs champions.
Yeah, the pairs champions are legends in their home country, and they were mentors for one of the skaters who actually made some final post on social media, showing what he was doing. They were there for a training tournament. That's why I believe Wichita was, I believe it was believe it was Wichita, if I'm not mistaken, but just so sad, Idris. You
Yeah.
know, the loss of life, so sad. And it's like, you know, I'll be honest with you, bro. I don't enjoy flying. People
I
make
don't.
fun of me. They're like, why you always drive everywhere?
Same here, man.
You
Same here.
know, and I'm a bit of a control freak, as my girl Jen would say on certain things, but the God's honest truth, Idris, as ridiculous as it sounds, is like when it comes to traveling, I like to be in control of it.
Me too.
I get serious anxiety whenever I go on an airplane. And, you know, certain safety measures have to be made
Mm-hmm.
in a post 9/11 world. You know, I get it. I get it. But, you know, I remember last time I went to Puerto Rico coming back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I damn near got sodomized by the guy at TSA.
Yeah, I haven't flown since the late '90s, man. Because I flying. It's funny because when I used to fly, I was fine. I was younger. I was, but it seemed like after 9/11, I don't know. I guess it's sunk in. Like you really don't like, because I really didn't like flying then, but I just got on because I was in the military, so I had to fly. But
Absolutely.
my family tell you, if they go anywhere, they'll fly. I drive to Boston. I drive to New York. I drove to San Antonio, Texas. I drove to Seattle, Washington, because like you, I'd rather be in control of what happened. That's why I want to go to Jamaica, but it's the 4-hour flight. It's just,
And I think the thing that always has given me an uneasiness, and I mean, even when you see the CEO of American Airlines addressing the situation,
mm-hmm.
you know, people are always going to say what they quote unquote have to say when a horrible tragedy happens. But I hate to say it, but I don't feel that the power elite and the richest of the rich or the CEOs are really that moved, because at the end of the day, in so many other metrics in this country and in other countries, I feel that they always look at certain people as just another number. You know, it's always business first. And when you consider that they are constantly pushing out that kind of air traffic to meet their quotas and meet their arrival times, I think that already speaks volumes that safety is not always the biggest measure. And I understand that this is possibly an anomaly and it doesn't happen a lot, but once is too many times as far as I'm concerned.
It's crazy because I stay 10 minutes from the airport. You can see the planes all the time fly over my house. But when I drive that way to go see my daughter, I pass the airport all the time. I pass the airport probably 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
Or that direction, at least. And then sometimes I see planes just lifting up like right after each other. And even I like to go watch the planes, land. And I'm like, I see a plane coming down. I see one like right behind it. And I see another one. I'm like, that's so close. Like the other day, me and my niece were driving. And we looked at this plane because it was moving incredibly fast. But it was just at an angle.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, Tay, Mason, I said, that don't look good. And she said, Uncle, it don't, man. It was just going up it was just coming so fast. It was just like at like an unusual angle. And we wanted to watch it. And we was like, it looked like it's going to crash, but it looked like it straightened up finally. And I was like, wow.
Yeah. I must admit, and you kind of alluded to it already, my mother formerly worked for US Air. So I constantly flew on the buddy pass. Occasionally you'd get bumped off a flight, but more times than not, you get there early, you're on a flight, you're flying for free.
Mm-hmm.
But in a post 9/11 world, I must admit, I don't enjoy flying for so many reasons. You get a ton of anxiety just getting in there because of some of the extra measures that are taken.
Yeah.
You pay a decent amount of coin to go on planes, and quite frankly, there's just nothing relaxing about it.
No, it's not. Yeah, I can't do it.
And then you look at whether an anomaly or not, a tragedy of this magnitude, the loss of life. You talk about the Potomac, and shout out to all the first responders, putting their lives on the line.
Yeah.
This time of the year, but the God's honest truth, as sad as it is and as bleak as it is, when you have a collision at that kind of magnitude and that kind of impact, there is less than a 1% chance of any kind of, anyone living.
Yeah.
And at that point, it becomes a matter of, just recovering bodies as gruesome as that sounds. And, I'm watching the news just for a little bit. I had to turn it off after a while because I started feeling my stomach turning. It doesn't have to be my family for me to care.
Yeah. You had it on the phone.
And when I see them just posting an 800 number up and acting like it's irresponsible on a million levels, because you got some sick people in this world. You got people that are calling that number just to F around.
Yeah. Those are the
knuckleheads. I'm sorry. This is what I hope.
Yeah.
And it doesn't replace human life, but I hope that members of the victims are all able to get a meaningful financial compensation.
Yeah.
Because nothing replaces a life.
No.
But my prayers to all of the victims.
Yeah.
My appreciation to the first responders. My prayers to the people left behind. It is just so very unfair.
Yeah. I agree 100%. It's crazy, man.
Oh man. Something I really did not think that we would be talking about this morning.
Yeah.
We got the NBA's dwindling ratings, Idris.
Yeah.
We've had some former superstars of the league speak on their opinions as to why the ratings are down. I don't think it's one particular reason. I will say this. Presentation is a big one.
Major.
While I think that the gents at TNT do a phenomenal job, Shaq, Kenny, Ernie, and Chuck, I think they're the creme de la creme of anything that has to do with pushing the NBA.
I agree 100%.
But that's a pregame show. But I still say, and no offense to those gents, that compared to the golden era, meaning the NBA on NBC, shouts out Dr. J, Hannah Storm, Bob Costas, Peter Vesey, that whole crew.
Oh man, Peter Vesey, yeah. That's a name for the bad.
I think the presentation, I wholeheartedly think the presentation of the NBA in that era, it just pales in comparison. And I do believe that on that level, it is a huge driving force as to why the ratings are not up, because you have to grab people.
Yeah. The presentation, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, you old heads. No, you have to see, to the young ones, you have to have been there to see what it was like. So don't say you old heads this. No, we're about the tradition. Back then, when they presented a game, it was like a spectacle. It was like just the average NBA game was like, let's say it was like the All-Star game. That's how it seemed. Like, here comes the NBA.
Absolutely.
You had to watch it. To where now, and I don't want to sound disingenuous or whatever, but now it seems more ghetto. It seems ghetto.
The thing that I think the NBA lacks right now is that you need to make it more inclusive to all fans. And I'm not even talking about, race. I'm not talking about any of that shit. Because at the end of the day, the European influence in the NBA has skyrocketed through the roof.
Major.
And truthfully, if we're going to hit on just plain old fundamentals, I wholeheartedly believe that from a fundamental-based standpoint, the Europeans have that. I mean, you see it in all kinds of tournaments that have world rules versus just specific NBA rules. But the advent of the super teams, and I'm not going to say that it was LeBron that completely created it, because, the late, great Kobe Bryant was close to forming one before David Stern knocked that out, where he almost got CP3. Some would accuse the Celtics of having the super team. I don't see it that way because of the age of the actual players. It was a short kind of ride. Whereas if LeBron wanted to stay in Miami, you could have had that Heatles thing going on for probably 8 years.
Yeah, I think I'm not going to put it solely on LeBron, but he has a lot of culpability in this thing. A lot of it. And listen, I know LeBron is going to be, oh, you just hate LeBron. No. The game changed with him. The
Yes, indeed.
flashing, the jumping
Yes,
from
indeed.
team to team all the time, and no accountability. If the team fails, it's their fault. He needs help. If they win, King LeBron, he did it all. Kyrie didn't get the credit. Ray Allen didn't get the credit. AD, I think AD is the
I mean, shoot, before you even give Ray Allen the credit, I think you got to give the legendary Coach Pop some credit.
Yeah.
Because out of all the great decisions that Coach Pop made, taking out Tim Duncan for a potential rebound that would have iced the game, and then, you had Heat fans that couldn't even get back in the arena because they thought the game was over.
Yeah.
And Ray Allen, Jesus Shuttlesworth from the corner, all net. And listen, LeBron is a phenomenal basketball player. Yeah, on some people's list, top 3, some top 5, some top 7, however you want to, view his game, he is phenomenal. A lot of people have steady been on this Jordan versus LeBron debate. I personally think it's garbage because they're two completely different players. I always say you want to compare MJ to people or compare people to MJ. Jerry West, Pete Maravich, even on a couple of metrics of his game. Kobe Bryant, of course. The elite scorers of the league are guys that you compare to MJ, and elite defenders at the 2-guard position are guys that you would compare to MJ. We're talking a guy like LeBron James who hits the stat sheet in so many different metrics. You're talking Oscar Robertson. You're talking Magic Johnson. And on some metrics, a prime Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
But not the same. Because Scotty's wilding out if he thinks he's better than LeBron.
Yeah, that little comment saying he done won six titles without Jordan. That was about as reckless as you can get. So what did you do when Jordan retired for that year and came back for that half year? You didn't win anything.
He didn't go into a game. He was an MVP candidate. If Dream didn't have the kind of year he had in '94, I personally think Scotty would have been the league MVP.
Yeah, and even in Portland, he didn't do well. I mean, they got to the playoffs that first year. Then after that, they went down. In Houston. So
and let's not forget that he was a piece on a very talented Portland team. It wasn't his show. You had Sheed. You had Baby Jay-Z, Bonzi Wells.
Damon Stoudemire.
Damon Stoudemire was on that squad.
Brian
Grant was on that squad.
Arvydas Sabonis. He had a
Sabonis.
Couldn't get it done. I think with the NBA, got too good for itself. It went too. I guess it went too much Hollywood with itself and forgot about it. They paid more attention to I guess highlights. That's because we all love the dunk. Don't get me wrong, but I'm talking about they made the game so offensive as in play, not in disrespectful offensive, but offensive to the point to where it's unwatchable. They don't play defense, and if you play defense, call a foul. People flop after every jump shot, after every layup, after every passing of gas. All the rules, the free pass rule.
And I do believe there's a happy medium, because I'm not saying that you got to terrorize guys like the way that the Detroit Pistons or our beloved New York Knicks did.
Right.
Because that was sometimes just like straight up violence, but there has to be a happy medium because, it's like anything else. We talk about it in football with the fluctuation of points, and why I don't always think it's fair to compare a Joe Montana to a Tom Brady or pick your best scorer of these eras versus guys in the 90s, because the rules were different. They got rid of hand checking. There's so many different things.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, the NBA killed itself. It killed itself, and it's killing itself because, like the 3-ball, everybody shoots the 3. And,
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
There's no. It's like the big man. I mean, I'm thankful for guys like Giannis and even Wemby.
Oh yeah, Wemby is a throwback, and San Antonio always seems to find the next great big man.
Yeah, so I'm happy for those guys, and I'm happy that Wemby's going to learn. He said, "Look, I got to bulk up. I got to learn from the OGs. Da 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 da. I got to learn." I'm glad he's thinking that way, because it's saying he's trying to play that game where he's Mr. Inside, Mr. Outside. But
yes, indeed.
when you have guys averaging 30 points that you never heard of, or just dropping 50, like that goes to show what the rules like. Because back then, if you hit 60 back in the 80s and 90s, you was out there getting it in.
No, you were getting it in because that was an era of basketball where
Yes.
you were going to get clotheslined like Steven Seagal movies if you tried to take it over somebody's head.
Yeah.
You know, it was a different era. And, you know, it does become rather annoying when you see a lot of uneducated fans that are like, oh, these guys were plumbers and this and that. I'm like, nah, man, don't get it twisted. The game is more athletic. Every era, the evolution of the American athlete is going to get better and better.
Yeah.
But make no mistake that your Larry Birds, your Magic Johnsons, your Isaiah Thomases, Michael Jordan, all those guys, they could have rocked in this era. It's like, to your point, the three ball. Sergio Rodriguez, friend of the show, made a mention of this on one of his hot takes. Mm-hmm. How Steph Curry is a phenomenal player, possibly top 10, but in certain ways he destroyed the game because it made everybody think that they could shoot threes.
35-footers. Yeah.
Yes, sir. And not everybody is Steph Curry. Steph Curry, I'm not even going to question it. I saw it when he was playing at Davidson, possibly the greatest shooter in the history of the game.
Yeah, he was lighting it up at Davidson.
Absolutely.
He single-handedly beat Georgetown. I remember, I was like, who is this kid?
Yeah, I mean, I knew he was Dell's kid, and I remember Dell Curry, you know, to age myself a bit. He hit the game winner at the first Knicks game I ever attended. You know, just over the reach of Patrick Ewing, John Starks getting picked by Zoe. Old school stuff. Good morning, Noah. How you doing, buddy?
But you know something?
Come on out.
The problem with today's fans, they're so much into the game, they don't want to learn the history. Like with JJ Redick saying plumbers and stuff, that was disrespectful because okay, we know in the 60s those guys played basketball, plus they had jobs because the game was still learning. The game was trying to build itself, you know. But to call the ones of the 70s, 80s, and 90s plumbers.
No, you want to say hi to Mr. Idris? We're doing a show.
Uh-oh. To call Kareem. Where's he at?
But he's talking though, so we gotta let him talk.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Hi.
If anybody wonders why lately I've been having the camera off and doing shows outside of my house or sometimes in my Florida den, the podcast room is under construction.
Right.
Anyway, continue, Idris. My bad.
Yeah, like I said, you know, to call a guy like Kareem at one point basically had all the stats, a plumber. Bill Russell played in that era, but he did go against Wilt, who was not a plumber. Dr. J, Magic Johnson, Charles Barkley, all these guys that came along to call them plumbers. These are the guys that built the league. When the league was like, oh, we can't get there, you bring in Magic Johnson. You cannot call Larry Bird a plumber.
But similar to hip hop, I think the NBA has done a real crappy job of preserving their pioneers.
Yeah.
And it's upsetting. It's upsetting. You know, I'm not saying that you got to act like you lived through it if you didn't. But paying a little homage and doing a little homework on what elevated your game to what it is today is not the worst idea in the world either.
And see, that's the problem with this generation. They don't want to give those who, and it's in hip hop, they don't want to give pioneers their due. They want to erase history. They say, okay, the players today, yes, they are more athletic. They really are. You know, they're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, But what they're missing are the fundamentals. That's why I was like, I had a debate with this guy. He said the 60 Celtics would get thumped by any team in this era. I said, possibility. I said, but if you put a team in this era back there, this team in this era would get run. No, they want to say, you know why? I said, because you have to go by those rules.
I'm going to tell you why I don't subscribe to that notion.
Oh, no, let me I'm going to tell you why. Because you know why? With their rules, you know how the crossover they have now? That's a carry in the 60s. All the dribbling they do now, that's a carry back in the 60s.
You look at international ball, Idris.
Yeah, I mean, fundamentally,
you got teams that play together since they were 12 years old versus superior American athletes.
Yeah.
And the results have not always been on our side. So the fundamentals do indeed matter. You also look at March Madness. When when you see your St. Peter's and your George Mason Patriots and all these other schools that come out of nowhere and knock off the big dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody's going to tell me that just based on athleticism and superior talent means that you're going to win.
Oh, no. I mean rules wise.
Yeah, but I think it's all relative is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. But I think if you took a team today, put them back in the 60s with those Celtics will run them. Because of the rules.
It's always a great debate. It's always a great debate.
Like crossover. You can't
always a great debate.
Steps to the hoop. You can't do all the fouls they don't call today. They call back then.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's why.
Not to mention like traveling isn't traveling anymore.
It's not. Why even dribble now?
Yeah, I mean you're talking about guys taking steps similar to a Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey in a football game.
Exactly. They're running for 2,000 yards on the court, one way. So Adam Silver has a lot to work on. Like I always like, I had a thing with the rules. Like I had posted, this is what the NBA should do about the rules. Bring back hand checking, not punching and all this.
Yeah, not kung fu. You don't want to bring back kung fu.
Let them DM up 90 feet. Hand checking. It's not a bad thing. Put your hand on him. Put your elbow on his back. Bring that back with the 3-point shot. It don't count until the final 2 minutes or the final 5 minutes of a game. You just can't just jack up three. Any three is a 2. Stuff like that. Get rid of that free pass rule. I think that's a stupid rule. Get rid of that. That's trash. Get rid of free pass rule. Don't give them 2 shots because they was going and you held them up. No, take out on the side. Let's keep the game moving. When I was coming up, they had a thing 3 to make 2. You got 3 shots to make 2.
Absolutely.
But now that was like the bonus, the double bonus. Bring that back. Make these guys work. Now the regular game is starting to look like the All-Star game. And we know what the All-Star game is. Nothing but a layup line.
And once again, that's another thing that pales, and you could say that in pretty much all the sports now, that the All-Star game has taken a negative hit. I mean, we don't even have a Pro Bowl anymore.
No.
Guys like the great Sean Taylor would be rolling over in their grave. I mean, that dude was taking out punters.
He was knocking you out in the Pro Bowl.
And shouts out to Brian Mormon, the former Buffalo Bill punter, who literally came up to Sean Taylor and slapped him in the helmet and said, bring more of that. Say what you want about a punter. Brian Mormon was a football player too.
That's the same with your boy on ESPN, McAfee. He's a tough guy as a punter.
McAfee was a tough guy.
He knocked your ass out. Even our old punter, Weatherford, he was
Steve tough. Weatherford was not one to play with. Steve Weatherford was not one to play with.
But these guys today in basketball, they are athletic, but they lack the fundamentals. They're all looking for that isolation play and 3-point shot. And the teams that win championship, I gotta give the Celtics credit last year. They played as a team, and those are the type of teams that win when you play as a team. Isolation ball, 1-man ball is not going to work. That's why the Celtics teams was running LeBron off the field. We playing together, So they got a lot to work on, man. I haven't watched a game at all. I haven't watched not one game this season.
I do try to watch when I can. Of course, my work schedule and it being football season as the priority right now. It's just the way it is. And it's easier to watch baseball because of the sheer fact that, there's a baseball game every day when that starts. And, as anyone who knows me knows, I love the New York Knicks. And I'm going to watch the Knicks playoff run no matter what era of Knicks basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Even during the horrible era, I was still, always keeping heavy tabs on the Knicks. But, it is the product on so many ways. I think we both did a good job of hitting on a few things that the NBA needs to do to enhance their game and get back to some of what made so many people love this game. Yeah,
I agree. They got a lot of work to do, man.
All right, Idris. 2 cultural icons in New York and the world alike. From S. Carter to P. Diddy. It's no secret P. Diddy's in jail. He's on trial. Keefe D, dropping the whole murder of Tupac Shakur, what happened in Vegas, saying how P. Diddy had more than a hand in that. Yeah. Insinuating that possibly nephew Orlando Anderson, who's no longer alive either, was set as a prop. You know, I'm not going to go into the whole narration of it. There's a million YouTube videos about it. Do you think that pertaining solely to Tupac, because I think it would be a miracle if he walks on some of the other stuff.
Yeah.
But solely pertaining to Tupac, do you believe that Sean Combs is going down for that as well?
Yeah.
Now, even with Von Zip Miller supposedly as the middleman and the person who took the money, there was $1 million hit supposedly according to Keefe D. Keefe D's credibility has been a little questionable because of the fact that he changed his story, but when under pressure and in an immunity-based situation, you know, he spilled all the beans. You know, Compton Street legend. He did shows on Vlad. He did shows on Art of Dialogue.
Yeah, I think with Diddy, I think he's going down too, but I also think Diddy's gonna do a Nino Brown. He's gonna if I'm going down, that's a whole bunch of people with me.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence that suddenly Jay-Z's under the radar.
Yeah.
Or rather in front of the camera, I should say. There's it's a lot to it, man. And when I think about Hollywood, I think about the music industry. I think about just kind of like a black hole that sucks so many people in and takes so much innocence in so many different ways. Yeah, as Jay-Z goes, I always felt it was a little uncomfortable now as more and more comes out that he and Sean Combs had such a phenomenal friendship. Yeah. Because this is a time where one would think that everyone would be running away from Combs.
Yeah.
But I'm a Tupac fan, bro. I'm not one of the people that's going to stand on a mountain and say he's the greatest rapper ever. I don't believe that. But he was important to me when I was a young guy. Yeah, I still listen to his music. I still revisit Machiavelli, some of his other stuff. I enjoyed him as an actor. Point to be made is I believe that if he was still with us, he would have played the role of activist. Yeah. I think he would have still been making a lot of great movies. And I believe that in terms of the music aspect of things, he would have been more behind the scenes, putting more people on. And similar to a legend like an Ice Cube or a Rakim would drop an album anywhere between once to every 10 to 15 years, something like that.
I agree. I mean, I wasn't a huge Tupac fan. I liked him more as a militant, more as the activist guy. I wasn't much into him as a thug because I know he wasn't. I mean, I'll say gangster. I won't call him thug because I don't think that was his real persona. But I did like him. I think he was a guy who was like he knew where he wanted to go, but something kept pulling him in another way.
It's an exceptional life when you consider how much that person accomplished at just 25 years of age.
Yeah.
I mean, he lived like 3 lifetimes.
Yeah, I think what he could have been is you can't imagine. I think what he could have been is like man, what this guy could have been. He could have been powerful.
And once again, when we talk about the disrespect to the pioneers.
Yeah.
No, Tupac, I don't consider him a pioneer, so to speak. When I think of pioneers, I think of your KRS-Ones. Yeah. I think of Rakim. I think of guys before them and during them and Melly Mel, the old school. Yeah. But what Tupac did is that he made hip-hop music, rap music run through Billboard in a big way. The only entertainer in any and all music genres to be incarcerated while having the #1 album in the country.
Yeah.
One of the worst kept secrets with Diddy's involvement, for his family, for Tupac's family, for Mopreme, for the people who are still alive. Yeah. I wholeheartedly want that satisfaction for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, the most famous man in hip hop and nobody's seen it. Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Even if you're not a big Tupac fan, you still have to give him his due. I mean, because he did what he did, musically, artistically, movies. I would love to see him in more movies because I think he was a damn good actor.
I'll tell you what, that role as Bishop in Juice, you watch it now and it's just phenomenal, and above the rim.
Those are great roles, But to be honest, this might sound corny, but my favorite role was him in Gridlock with him and
He did a hell of a job in that with Tim Roth. He did a hell of a job, and it came out posthumously.
Yeah, that was my favorite Tupac movie. I know it sounds corny, but
no, let me tell you something. The thing with Pac, and you know, people forget he went to the Baltimore School for Performing Arts.
Yes.
So
he was very talented.
But don't get it mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
He might have not been a gangster, but he was a real one, and he
always
was down to fight for people he loved.
Yeah, he was a real one. Yeah, I'm not calling him
ultimately erroneously, which led to his untimely demise.
Yeah, I didn't want to call him a gangster, because when I say gangster, I mean somebody who's in the street just doing dirt.
I completely understand.
Yeah. That's
completely understand the reference point and what you were getting at.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, but I think, you know, if he's like, let's go, he's like, let's go.
Oh no, no doubt. I mean, when you consider that your cash cow is slugging it out with a Southside Crip, whereas you had goons for that kind of stuff, and it's just so ridiculous, you know, looking at it in hindsight. But then again, how much stupid shit that we do when we were 25 years old?
I don't want to talk about it.
Exactly. Idris, what are you watching these days? What are you streaming? What is worth watching right now?
Oh shoot, I'm true crime, man. Cold Case, Law and Order, Forensic Files. I even been going back watching the old show Without a Trace. I like stuff like that. I love true crime.
Since you mentioned stuff about law, I gotta drop a little funny in here.
Yeah.
Was Ice-T punished forever and ever to always be involved as playing some kind of cop or some kind of supporter after making Cop Killer and after being that guy that shook so many people up?
You know, it's funny because he was a cop on New Jack City.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. I'll never forget Nino Brown. AKA Wesley Snipes.
He's been a cop on Law and Order for
screaming on Ice-T, calling him a dreadlocked bombrous. That movie was sick. New Jack City is a good watch any and all years.
Oh, I like his roles as a cop. He plays a damn good. He played a good cop in New Jack City.
Yes, sir.
Then Detective Tutulo in Law and Order. I mean, I give him his due, man. It's kind of funny though, because he did make a lot of songs, you know, cop killing all.
No, that's why it's wild to me. Or even when you see Meth. But Meth has always, to me, with Meth, like in the Power series,
yeah,
I feel like he has always managed to still be himself in whatever role he gets thrown. Whereas Ice-T is just evolving into a halfway passable actor. Because I'm like, damn, bro, I would have never pictured this. Remember New York Undercover?
I forgot about
where he killed Malik Yoba's lady.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was
that was a good show. That was a good
yes, it was. And let me tell you, I brought this up super recently, and I believe you're the person who actually brought it up about the Living Single Friends comparison.
I said it's just back from the dead.
New York Undercover was a groundbreaker in the sense that you had Latino lead, an African American lead as well.
Oh, hey, Shed, I gave you a shout out on my wall about buying eggs, man. All right, go ahead. go ahead, Richie.
Nah, what I was getting at, New York Undercover, a Latino lead, African American lead during that time on Fox. It was massive, dude. It was massive.
That was a show. That was
a really great show for the time. The Club Natalie's that they would always go to, and you know, you always had some big time guest cameos. I remember on the eve of the NBA season, Patrick Ewing meeting them, and you know, them chopping it up about the NBA. And once again, you talk about presentation for the NBA. That's the kind of power the NBA had back in the 90s.
Yeah, and they always had they had good music on there, artists at the end of every show. That was a damn good show.
It was a groundbreaking show. Ultimately, what led to that show's demise was that Malik and Michael De Lorenzo felt that they were underpaid.
Yeah.
To their contemporaries that were on other shows, and they weren't wrong. And you know, ultimately, I believe it was Dick Wolf that pulled the plug on it.
Yeah, and he was
Patty D'Arbanville.
A lot of good shows too.
Yeah, Patty D'Arbanville Quinn, who is the former wife of Don Johnson, actually offered to figure out a way to allocate some of her monies to satisfy the two male leads, which I think is a pretty stand-up move. But definitely kind of like a shooting star. It wasn't around long, but definitely changed the game for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, and she played a hell of a role as the lead.
Oh yeah. She was awesome as the captain, I believe was her role. But she was awesome.
She was dope.
She was awesome.
Yeah. And to hold people watching us, go back and watch New York Undercover. I would try to go back to its earliest season and watch it all the way to the end. You're gonna love that show. That was a hell of a show. And it really brought out the feeling of New York too. It could be like the feeling of LA and everything, any major city. Very good show. I wish it didn't get pulled because they went on and killed two of the main characters off the show. And
I remember his name slips my mind, the actor's name, but the gentleman who played Tommy in the Martin series, he ended up replacing Patty in that show.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it was already on the way down.
Yeah. It was. It's just a damn good show, man. Think about Patty Arvinville. She played the captain of a New York precinct, and she's a New York girl anyway. So she was able to be herself. She didn't have to put on a fake accent because she's a New Yorker. I think she's from Manhattan or Manhattan.
I believe so. I believe so.
So you got a New Yorker playing in there. You got they were all. You had what's the name is the New Yorker?
Well, the dude that played Torres, Michael De Lorenzo. A lot of people don't realize that dude was around for a long time. I mean, he was in a couple of Michael Jackson videos back in the day.
He was there for New Yorker, Malik Yovov, New Yorker, Patty Darville, New Yorker, Velez, New Yorker. I mean,
they kept it. They kept it very local, but like it was good, man. It made a punch. It changed a lot of things. It really did change a lot of things.
Yeah.
Oh, right. NFL Media Week do's and don'ts.
Oh, so forget she's playing the Super Bowls too.
How do the players stay sharp and avoid distractions going into the biggest game of their lives?
Beat Jalen Hurts. Because I see Jalen Hurts. He's like Marshawn Lynch. He's the same guy no matter what interview. He's like, he just stays calm and just be himself. Even Saquon. They just beat themselves. They don't get into the hype. So I think beat Jalen Hurts, man.
And I got to address the elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
We saw the Dalton Kincaid play. A couple of others.
Yeah.
Idris, I hate doing this, but I can't ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really, really this obviously favorable with the Zebras and KC?
It is, man. It's and like I said, I rooted for KC because of my uncle who got me into football. He's a big KC fan. I got a chance to meet Otis Taylor. Rest in peace, Otis Taylor. And I got an Otis Taylor jersey. So I've always had love for the Chiefs. And also, what people don't know is the Steelers, Rooney and Mara, back in the old days when the Chiefs was coming about, they invested money to keep the Chiefs afloat. That's why, that's one reason why they're in KC and not in Dallas, because they was about to fold up. They put money into the game. So I've always had respect and love for the Chiefs. But it's gotten to the point to where the NFL has really just took it too far. And no, it's no disrespect to Taylor Swift, but they pay more attention to them and do whatever they can. And the calls are like, there's calls on both sides. But it's like the calls that's going for KC are happening when in crunch time. Or when the game is about to turn.
It's just unfortunate. And I'll be honest, I wanted Buffalo to win.
I did too.
Like when I saw James Cook make that play, one arm stretching himself all the way to get that score. And, I get it. It's like, I'm a Giants fan. Like, why would you care about a team from upstate New York? It's not that so much that I care. It's that I admire the journey of anyone who keeps coming back. And, Josh Allen, I think he's a class act, as do I think Lamar in defeat. I think Lamar's stock really went upward, showing legitimate human happiness for Josh Allen, despite the fact that he lost a game that he probably shouldn't have lost. You
I
know, and
look
I
at
think it
it.
speaks a lot about Lamar's maturity.
Mhm.
And I think Lamar still has that opening to have his day in the sun, as do I think Josh Allen. But once again, we talk about the product. We talk about the importance of protecting the product and making the product acceptable. And when you have too many NFL fans that legitimately feel that the referees are favoring a team on that level because of the fact that they got the Swifties over there or whatever their narrative is, or that Patrick Mahomes is the golden child, or that Andy Reid needs to eat more cheeseburgers, whatever.
Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks because, you know, this is a great organization that the Hunts have in Kansas City. And this is an organization that suffered prior to drafting Mahomes. But they went from likable to everybody can't stand them. And you even have people that legitimately hate the Philadelphia Eagles that want to see them win, to put their hatred on the side to end this Chiefs three-peat. Because I'll be real with you, Idris, when I think about teams that have that are true dynasties,
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time digesting that the Kansas City Chiefs would be the ones to three-peat when I think about how great the Cowboys were in the 90s, how great the 49ers were in the 80s, how great the Steelers were in the 70s. And
Well,
let's be real, dude.
Even the
If the
Patriots.
merger happened earlier,
Yeah.
Green Bay would have opened the Super Bowl era with a three-peat.
Yep. Yeah. And I think they need to put that in, put that in there, because look, yes, it's the NFL championship, and yes, it's the Super Bowl, but it's the same thing. It's just a new name. It's just a merger. I think with KC, and I hope Aaron Moorhead, and I hope Saquon Barkley, Jason, and Jalen Hurts, I hope y'all all listening. Especially Aaron Moorhead and Saquon Barkley. We want y'all on the show. We really do. We want y'all on the show. I'm begging y'all, please come on the show. But for real, hey, look, I got discounts on Hilton hotels, man. Let me know. I got you. I get the hotel cheap. But look, guys, Mean Green, Fly Eagles Fly, whatever y'all want to call yourself. Be prepared, because you're going against 60 players. You're going against the 53 man plus the 6 referees, or how many is on the sideline. Let's keep it 100. Y'all got to play your game, man.
And I'll be honest with you, Idris, I literally hate that is the reality, because it's no secret that I can't stand the Philadelphia Eagles.
Me neither.
But at the end of the day, whether they're supposed to win or whether they're supposed to lose, I want to walk away from that Super Bowl feeling that it was fair. I didn't think it was fair the way I saw some of the calls that the Chiefs got against Buffalo. And I'll take it even further. They would have beaten the Texans no matter what.
Yeah.
However, those two players colliding and Patrick Mahomes giving himself up in the wrong way.
Yeah.
That was utter bullshit.
The interception. I mean, the catch that should have been,
You know, and if the Eagles are going to win, if the Eagles are going to lose, I try to emphasize this to Giant fans too. Mm-hmm. Them having a second Lombardi doesn't change the fact that we have 2 times as many. And I'm not saying that, this was the worst pairing as a fan of who I root for.
Yeah.
For this to happen. This reminds me similarly to 2017 when the Patriots and the Eagles played, because I hate Boston teams. Philly's our biggest rival. So I was looking for something to root for, and I said, Belichick used to work for us. I'm rooting for the Patriots.
Yeah,
but not the Super Bowl I wanted, but it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I want to say this. I'm pulling for the Eagles. That shit hurts to say that, man. I'm not going to say that. I want the Chiefs to lose. That sounds better.
Idris, I just want it to be fair, bro. Bottom line.
Yeah, if it's a
it's
fair
like
game,
anything. It's like anything else, because damn well. Remember a couple of years ago when the referees missed that holding on us on Terry McLaurin?
Man,
I was happy that we won, but I was aggravated that a great giant effort was going to get overshadowed by a poor call, because I'm a fair person, dude. If it's a bad call, it's a bad call. Look at you, Hollins. We talked about Pippen at the top of the hour.
Oh, man, yeah.
That was a bad call, dude. As much as I love my New York Knicks, the Bulls should have won that series, too.
Should have won a series. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Should have won a series.
I try to be fair, dude. I try to be fair, regardless of team affiliation.
Yeah.
But, keys to victory. it goes without saying that the Eagles have to get Saquon Barkley and and I emphasize because Kenneth Gainwell is very reliable as well.
Yeah.
We saw what Will Shipley could do behind that line in some garbage time, but the kid could play. They got to run the ball because if the Kansas City Chiefs, Steve Spagnuolo designed something where you can limit Saquon Barkley and where he is really working extra hard to get those yards. You don't want to go against the game script, in my opinion, where Jalen Hurts has to throw the ball more than the game plan suggests. I mean, Jalen might prove me wrong and he might light them up, but until I see it, I have to believe that the Eagles' path to victory runs through number 26.
It's going to have to, man. And Spagnuolo, damn good defensive coordinator.
The best.
I mean, he's got to be, if not the best, he has to be among the top 3.
Absolutely.
God, we had him and he was a awesome DC.
I am so aggravated.
I think he's better
fired
now.
Ben McAdoo. We didn't give Steve the chance to be the next head coach. The players gravitated to him.
Easy. He's a better DC now than he was when he was with us. And
that's saying something because he shut down the greatest offense in the history of this league.
With no problem. With ease. That defense ran through the playoffs like, look, we got this.
And mind you, this is a defense that wasn't even ranked in the top 10 during the course of the regular season.
Ranked 27th.
Yes, sir.
27th.
2 different Super Bowl runs, 17 and bottom 5. Same thing with the rushing attack. That's what made the 2011 Super Bowl so rare, where you had 2 teams with defenses that were ranked so low that made it to the big game. That's like literally an anomaly in the NFL.
Yeah, you got to get Saquon the ball, get him hot early. You got to get Gainwell in there just to give Saquon some air. You don't want Hurts to have to win the game. I mean, they got the receivers that can get it done.
Absolutely. That receiving room is well coached and well prepared, and they do have the pieces. I mean, you have guys that are buried on that depth chart that are potential 2s on other teams.
Ivan's here. He got a question for us. Oh man, what's up, Ivan? It's been a while, man. Well,
Ivan, what's good, fam? How you doing? Good afternoon, fellas. Sorry for getting out your topic of the Super Bowl. I had a question. What do you guys think will be for Lamar Jackson to take that step to get to the Super Bowl and possibly have a chance to win it? Okay. All right. For Lamar Jackson to win, just got to keep doing what they're doing, Ivan. I'll tell you the truth. Mark Andrews being the victim of a great defensive play at midfield. There were a couple of turnovers that also hurt them, and I give Lamar credit for taking the blame away from his teammate. That's what leaders do. The Baltimore Ravens are really good, and so is Lamar Jackson. I think he's looking at a 3rd MVP award. Just keep doing what he's doing, and he's going to be on the right side of some of these games.
Yeah, I agree. I think minimize the mistakes early because that hurt him early. In fact, it was great that it didn't really affect them later on in the game. But minimize the mistakes. Just focus. He's going to get another chance. Could they going to bring back the band again? So it'll probably be them in Buffalo in the end, or them Buffalo and KC again in the end.
I think a year ago they were outcoached.
Oh yeah,
but this year it wasn't about coaching. I think it was just a little bit of it was just flat out unfortunate. I mean, Mark Andrews is a sure-handed tight end.
Yeah,
for him to have those 2 blunders in the same game, very rare. But had to be the worst timing. But I think Lamar's doing the right thing by trying to protect his teammate. And as I already alluded to, that's what leaders do. And Lamar Jackson really gained a lot of extra respect for me for the way he handled a very crushing, unfair loss.
Yeah, he took it. He's like, look, I got to handle business.
And that's a big reason why I admire Josh Allen too. But, I'll tell you, I said it on my socials, man. The shit that the Bills have been through is similar to the Knicks in the 90s.
Whew.
Patrick Ewing was a great competitor, but after a while, you keep losing to the same person. It's got to get in your head.
Yeah, I do feel for Josh Allen, and I hate that people are bashing him. Josh Allen played a hell of a game. I posted his stats. His stats are dope. He's playing a good game.
Anybody that is trying to say that the Buffalo Bills lost because of something that Josh Allen did or didn't do, It's silly. I get it. He had a lot of nerves to open the game, almost throwing back-to-back picks.
But
He
after
missed a
that,
couple of throws. But the bottom line is, when you look at that stat line, that lines up with dudes that have won Super Bowls.
yes,
You look at the one pick and the great QBR rating, it looked comparable to what Eli did in 11.
he just went up like that last play, that fourth down play. He had a receiver coming out the backfield, but
Yes, he did.
Spags sent the blitz at the right time.
And that's what
Didn't give
Spags
him,
does.
yeah, didn't get a
Spags has
chance
been
to look
able to
over.
neutralize some of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game.
Because had he completed that pass in the flat, I think that was Cook wide open, that would have went for 20 yards. But
Easy.
they didn't give him a chance. They knew which way he was rolling out, and they were there. So
now, Stephen Ridlon, my favorite Boston guy, he is one big ball breaker, but a great fan of Boston sports.
Yeah.
You know, he's enjoying it. He's a Patriot fan. Of course he wouldn't want to see the boys from upstate succeed.
Yeah.
But he did make a good point.
Yeah.
He said that Sean McDermott might have to go in order to get them to the next level. And it's not that McDermott is a bad coach, but clearly and concisely, he's always getting outclassed by Andy Reid.
You know, it's like he's kind of like Mike McCarthy a little bit. Mike McCarthy, and I'm not saying Mike McCarthy's a good coach.
Anybody at that level is a good coach.
He's a good coach. It's just playoff time. Like,
yes,
he got that Super Bowl, but playoff time, it's like, and that's and with dang, he gets them to the championship, but they just can't get over, and they might need to make a change at quarterback. I mean, at coach.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at the roster, I get it. They could help their defense get a little younger in certain places. You know, with Matt Milano being healthy and, you know, Von Miller having moments of brilliance still, reminding you of the old Denver Bronco Von Miller. They have the pieces.
They got the pieces.
Do they need an alpha wide receiver? Maybe. I thought they did great without Steph Diggs.
I think they did too.
You know, I was a little surprised that Amari Cooper in general wasn't more involved.
Yeah.
But
I think with this last game, I think they got into the game too late. Like, when they started, like after the half, they started running the ball. That's when they started punishing the Chiefs. Boom, 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 running. They opened up the pass more. And I think earlier they tried to throw too much. And I think they need to stick to what got them there.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's what makes the Super Bowl coming up so interesting, because it's going to be a battle of wills, and guys that do things is such a great metric, because that Chiefs front seven is so damn good. Chris Jones is a game wrecker, and the Eagles on the other side, possibly the best offensive line in today's NFL, even without future Hall of Famer Jason Kelce. And I was saying this, man, it's got to be weird for Jason Kelce to not be a part of this game, having a chance to get revenge on his brother. But I think Jason is just super happy with his retirement.
Oh yeah, he's connected.
Oh no, he's definitely connected. But that's got to be weird, right? So who do you root for as a brother? Do you root for your boys and the organization that fed your family all your NFL career, or do you go for your brother who already beat you just 2 short years ago?
Knowing Jason Kelce, he's rooting for his boys.
And that's some real shit, and I appreciate that. No, Shed, we're not going to talk about the price of eggs. I was being facetious with that. All I'm going to say is that they need to lower these grocery prices.
The Eagles seem to do good in rematches. The Patriots beat them back in the early 2000s.
Yes, indeed.
They came back and they beat the Patriots. The Chiefs beat them a few years ago. Now they get their rematch.
But I said this to a friend of mine, that the NFL loves their dynasties and they love their Darth Vader situations. Like, similar to the Floyd Money Mayweather thing. I said it the other day on the show.
Yeah.
When you have NFL fans hate a specific fan base, I mean, a specific team, I should say, in the NFL's eyes, it's good for the league, because in every era of NFL football, there has always been a dynasty. And I don't want to get into all this conspiracy shit. All I'm going to say is it's not all that much of a coincidence. Yeah. It comes with the territory. Dynasty teams, or teams that are pushing for dynasties, get the calls. We saw it for years and years with New England. That's why I got to laugh when super recently, you know, after the emotional reactions of the Buffalo game, you got New England fans calling the Chiefs cheaters. I'm like, did you clowns forget that you had like 2 to 3 scandals? Who the hell cheats against the Jets, dude?
Yeah, the Pats don't need to be talking.
That's a different kind of cruelty to to cheat against the Jets.
Right.
And I'm insulted. Cheat against us.
Cheat against us.
Should have cheated against Michael Strahan, Justin Tuck, and Osi.
Yeah.
Who cheats against the Jets?
Right, exactly.
At any rate, I think we have exercised this one. Idris, final thought.
Eagles get their revenge.
I'm still not going to put out my pick.
Eagles get
I'm
revenge.
not sure yet.
Well, I'm going to say it right now. Eagles get revenge, and my Aaron Moorhead and Saquon Barkley comes on the show.
Here's the thing. I predicted that the Eagles would defeat the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl. The Buffalo Bills are not playing them.
Right.
So I am not sure yet. I am really on the fence about who's going to win this game because I personally think it is that even of a matchup. I did say recently that I thought the Ravens or the Bills, whoever won that game, would beat the Chiefs. Once again, I was wrong. I've learned over the course of the last couple of years with this podcast to stop picking against the Chiefs. The last time I was correct about picking against the Chiefs, I got to go back. No, I'm lying. The last time I was wrong picking the Chiefs, I should say, was the 2020 Bowl. But, a lot happened off the field going into that game that I definitely think hurt. And, Patrick Mahomes was dancing because his O-line was decimated against that terrific Tampa front seven.
Yeah.
Everybody's like Tom Brady. Tom Brady's the GOAT. I have no problem saying that. But let's not forget that no quarterback in the history of this great game ever had more top 10 defenses than Tom Brady.
True that.
Teams win championships. Defense wins championships. Don't forget that part. But until next time, he is Idris. I am Richie. And I got to get going. I'm going to get out from under the carport and get my ass in gear. If you haven't already, please make it a point to like and subscribe to the channel, the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast on YouTube. And definitely check out the Casual Convo Show every Wednesday from 8 to 10. You get to see my man Idris, a.k.a. Boscoe from the Bronx, the beautiful Miss Coco. And they always have a ton of contributors that are always bringing the real on that show. So definitely check out the Casual Convo Show as well. Idris, thank you for your time, bro. I'm going to holler at you later tonight. Have a great day, everyone.
Eggs 2 for $5, y'all.